dot, dot, dot.
Right.
5 little girls in the home. And so it made me withdraw from people because people hurt. People made issues. And it made it very easy for me to become invisible in a family with 6 kids. It was easy to be invisible, and it was comforting to me. I didn't have to be seen. I didn't have to be heard. I didn't have to be known. But I knew you. I studied you. I knew what you were thinking before you opened your mouth. It was a gift God gave me. And I read and I read and I read. I was a nerd. It wasn't until high school that I figured out I was a girl and I had assets. Right before I was walking across that stage with my diploma, I got assets. I had to go all through junior high and high school with no assets. So I'm fully aware I had assets. But it still kept me insulated to a certain degree. And so after my pastor prayed for me, life took a lot of different turns and a lot of different challenges came into my life, which made me become more introverted. But he would often challenge me, God's called you to do something, and you cannot accomplish it afraid. And I had to look at what was causing me to be afraid, and I associated fear with people. And so I had to go on that journey of learning how to be around people. And I thank God that my education forced me. I went back to school, married 3 kids, and decided to go back to college. Went back to college and completed my associate's degree. And when I was in that program, I loved business. So I was in a marketing and management program, and there was an organization that was a public speaking business organization. I don't know why I enrolled, but I did. And from the coaching of that instructor, I became one of the top 10 national finalists in entrepreneurship out of a room of 5,000 people. My very first attempt at a business plan, I won top 10 in the nation. And I felt really like God was telling me, you can do this. See, I love business from the time I was a little girl. I made aprons for my 5th and 6th grade teachers, and I sold aprons and pot holders to my teachers. My very first job, my very first business. I was always creative. Introverts are usually very creative people. And so I was always making stuff, drawing stuff. I was an artist, I drew, my artwork was all over the school, but nobody knew it was my work because I would never sign my real name. I would sign my nickname on my work, and it was in the libraries and in the hallways. And that's the gift that God had given me, to be very creative. And so introverted people generally are very creative people. They just channel that energy somewhere else versus talking. But after my pastor prayed for me, I got a voice. And I realized I had something to say. But back in my day when I was coming up, it wasn't okay for women to talk about business. We weren't allowed to discuss business. That was for men. It was men who did business and discussed business and conducted business, and women took care of the children at home. But I was always the person that I would go in my father-in-law's room because he was a vice president of a Teamsters local here in Kansas City, and over the river market, which was very political, very high profile, and in the depths of what business was in Kansas City, dealing with Italian business back in the 80s and 90s. And so I would sneak in this room and I would listen to what the men were talking about. I'd get in trouble, of course, because I'd be the only woman in a room full of a bunch of men, but I loved business and I wanted to hear. And my father-in-law taught me so many things about business. I was the daughter he wished he had because his other daughters could care less about what he would come home talking about. They didn't want to hear it. And I would find my way into his room and say, Dad, what happened today? And he would tell me the stories and the contracts and the negotiations and how to hold your cards and not let anyone see you sweat. He would tell me stories about all the negotiations he would go through as being the only black man in that area. He was the only Teamsters vice president, the only black man. And the things that he had to learn to navigate through dealing with negotiations. and when to step back and put someone before him, or when to have someone representing the organization that got the door open for him. Those are the things I learned. I learned how to study people because he said, you gotta know who you're talking to. You gotta know what is inside of their head. And you gotta watch their moves because people have nonverbal communication that is stronger than their verbal. When they're telling you yes, they're saying no with their body.
Yeah, right.
Read the body, not the words. So he taught me so many things about business. And as I moved on, I realized that all of these things were preparing me for something, and I didn't know what. I went back to school, got my master's degree in systems management. I became a QA analyst. I'm a numbers girl, so I love analyzing things. I can take anything apart with my eyes and put it back together again. And I love taking things apart. And I realized I could tell people what would work if they would listen to this woman in a male-dominated statistical field telling you what your QA and analytical diagnosis was to re-engineer your product, your system, or your service. But I was a woman, and a black one, in a white male-dominated field. And oftentimes I was not listened to. So I had to learn to stay ahead of them and go around them and work underneath them and come out on top. So my projects were always top 3 in the nation, consistently. Consistently. My whole time, we covered medical research studies for CDC, always top 10 in the nation, always top 3 in everything we did. And I knew God was teaching me something in that organization. And when the job closed, it was time for me to start my business. And I want to say this, I was very successful in everything my hands ever touched until it came to my own business. I've been teaching entrepreneurship for 11 years for Joseph Business School. I've been an adjunct professor, coach, and a mentor for that program. My students graduate. My students graduate with honors. All but one. I had one and realized I couldn't want it more for her than she wanted it for herself. So I had to let her go. I did everything to keep her in the program, and I realized she didn't want to be kept. So I had to let her go. But everybody else that wanted to succeed and wanted what I had to offer, they have graduated with honors. And I have 3 students graduating on Sunday with honors. I'm so proud of them. I'm proud of the work they did. And then I have students in here that I have been working with. Mr. Wilson, will you stand? This man is going somewhere. This man has an amazing business. And God's gonna blow him up because he's diligent and he's faithful and he's a hard worker. Out of all the students that were in the program, he was working 10, 12, 13, 14 hours and getting his homework turned in. He told me he fell asleep in his car in front of his house. He was just that tired. But he got his homework in. And I'm so proud of him and what he's going to do. Thank you, sir. Mr. Oliver, another student. Mr. Oliver. Mr. Oliver has not stopped swinging his bat. He's not put it down. All the challenges and the obstacles that have been thrown at him, he has kept swinging. Mr. Oliver has an amazing business concept and an amazing business idea, and so he's ready to launch. July what? July 14th. He's ready to launch. Thank you, sir. And I work with different ones in this room at different times, and now I realize that through BlackCEO, there's so much more that needs to be done for our businesses. And oftentimes, about a year ago, I started trying to open an organization called Black Mastermind, and my desire was to do coaching, mentoring, and development. I knew the struggles I had in business, and I knew business from a book perspective. I could teach you business. I could teach you business principles, accounting principles. I could teach you marketing principles and strategies from a book and a grade and educational perspective. But God wanted me to learn how to run a business and learn what it's like when it doesn't work. I couldn't understand that and when all the challenges was going on in my business. But now I understand why I had to go that road. I said, God, I know business. What is going on with my business? And I know business, and I'm teaching business, but my business isn't working. Right. What is going on? What's up with this? Right. I thought we were cool. Right. You can tell me. I ain't got to bump my head. I'll watch everybody else bump their head, but all you got to do is tell me. I'm that girl that say, okay, I heard you. I ain't got to do that. I ain't got to find out for myself that Mama say a hard head is hard. And a hard head is hard. I didn't have to find that out for myself. I knew it. But doing my own business and everything I knew, see, I've been in the wedding industry for 35 years. My mom was a caterer, professional caterer. Chefs and caterers are in my family. And my daughter was her photographer. I was the florist and the event designer and the wedding planner and the decorator and the drag mama stuff in, set up mama stuff. Sometimes I had to be the cook. Sometimes I had to be the server. I had to be clean up. Right. I had to do whatever mama told us we had to do to help this business run. And so our family was in this arena. I've been doing this my whole life. It was second nature to me. And I could stay up all night doing it because it was my passion. And I wanted to turn my passion into a business. But it was difficult turning a passion into something profitable. And as much as I knew, and people in the city called me the wedding planner. That was my nickname. Or my nephew called me the Black Martha Stewart. Because if it didn't exist, I made it. I created it. If it wasn't in the marketplace, I made it. I found stuff in the stores, and I would go in stores and take things apart with my eyes and go home and make it. And so he called me the Black Martha Stewart. And I wore that title well. But when it came to running my business day to day, my greatest challenge was people. We were taken advantage of by so many people because they knew that we were green in the industry, and not green in the industry, but green to business. And they knew that we didn't know the ropes. And so people, vultures came out of nowhere. Yes, they do. When we opened up our doors. I had so many people coming into my life saying, we're gonna do this for you, and we're gonna take care of this, and this is what my company will do for you. Took my money and disappeared. Contractors come in saying it costs $35,000 to do the project and left me with $87,000 of my money. I had lawyers come in and say, we're going to take care of this for you, and I'm going to charge you $8,000, and I found out for myself it only costs $1,500. That's what happens in business. And I almost reverted back to being that girl with that wall up that didn't let people in, because I didn't know who I could trust. And I found myself being victimized in a different way, and that was through my money. I went through $300,000 in 5 years in my business, keeping my doors open, trying to make everything run. And I know everything there is to profitability. Couldn't make that thing profitable. Couldn't turn that thing around. And I kept pouring money in until I said, wait a minute, I know how to I know how to track and trim my numbers. My numbers had got to the point where we were only operating on 60% of our revenue from our first start. If the owner we had leased the building from sold the building while we were in it, and had found another location. Lost 26 weddings, had to pay 26 brides back to the tune of almost $27,000. Closed the business this time, had to pay $10,000 back to the clients that booked us, because I wanted my reputation to be pure. Right. You're not gonna see me on the news hiding behind the door. Right. I look at myself in the mirror. And if I close my doors and you pay for my services and I can't perform, I have to give you your money back. And people told me you were crazy for doing that. File bankruptcy and walk away, and I didn't. Right. But I have someone trying to sue me for money that I don't owe them, to the tune of $47,000. So this one I will take care of in the court. But the things that happen in business can turn your life upside down. Absolutely. And this conference is to deal with how to structure yourself and how to prepare yourself for the things that happen in business. Because our desire is for us to have wealth-based businesses. And there's some things we gotta dig deep and put in place and structure to support wealth. It doesn't automatically happen. There is a strategy to accumulating wealth. And as I was going through my challenges as a young, another entrepreneur that's a multimillionaire in this city, a hidden secret one that many people don't even know he exists. And he said, every millionaire has a story.
Right.
You're just getting yours. And I didn't like that at the time he said it. I was some not okay with him when he told me that. But honestly, it is the truth. He said, research millionaires and listen to their story. He gave me videos to pull down, books to read, and they had some tragic stories. Some almost committing suicide for losing everything that they had thought was their existence. And so for me, it was easy because I knew who I was. God had grown me and matured me to the point that I knew who I was. I wasn't scared anymore, and I wasn't afraid anymore. And so when this happened, I had to just step back and say, what am I to do with this? What is this for, and what is it about? And as I began to work to open up the organization, Black Mastermind, I said, everybody's struggling. Every business that I visited, and turn my camera on and do a Facebook Live session with, when I turn the camera off, I want to know what's going on in the business. I found out that they're all struggling, barely keeping their doors open. 1 month away from shutting their business down. Never paid themselves a salary. Scraping by any way they can. Not in a position to even do anything for their family. And I'm like, this is not real business. And this is not how we are to conduct business. Something is terribly wrong in the Black business community. And then I met Shay Brown first. Well, Miss Ella Carroll sent me a message saying, you have to check this out. And that's all she said to me. You need to check this out. And I checked it out. And I called them up and said, I want to host an event in Kansas City. And last year this time was the first time I brought them into Kansas City to speak. And they impacted my life, and my line of thinking was right in line with their mode of operating and thinking that I said. When they asked me to become the president, I was kind of surprised. Wasn't prepared. So we say Trevor does a lot of teletold. So you volunteer what you're told.
Volunteer.
And so I said, okay, I'll do this. So I transformed my organization, the Black Mastermind, into BlackCEO right here on the spot. Because it was right in line with what we needed to see and hear and do in the Black business community. And so all of that stuff that I've learned and all those things that God allowed me to experience is for today. So I am an open book for any entrepreneur. And so I take calls, I'll go to their location, I'll work with them, I'll sit with them, and then I realized this is a business. This too is a business. So I started teaching people how to take a business plan and run a business with it versus doing a business plan to turn it in for a grade. There is a big difference. And I want you to use your business plan as your roadmap in business and not just something you want to turn in to get financing, because that's not good enough either. You run and do one just so you can get a loan. Then what are you going to do with the money after you get the loan?
Right.
So we talk about leveraging. We talk about how to take money and put it in a form that it will grow and make you more money. We talk about revenue accounts. We talk about expenditure accounts. We talk about funding the vision first before you start it. Because that's what gets us in trouble. And we talk about the dangers of bootstrapping, which is something they tell us we have to do. We got to use our own money. No, you don't, and you better not. Never use your own money. Nobody tells you that. So you take every dime you got and you put it in your business and you look up and you're struggling and you, no money. And then you're not fundable. No one will lend you anything because you have no cash reserve. You have no revenue account set aside. So teaching it from a way that you can run your business and not how they teach you so you can get a grade or get a loan. That's not what the business plan is for. It is to actually run your business, fund your business, and make your business financeable. so someone could finance your vision or seed into your vision. So our goal is to work businesses to the next level. Our goal is to create wealth-based businesses. This is what this conference is about. Hopefully it's a jump start for some of you. And I want to tell you that sometimes too much information at the wrong time can be detrimental. And if you're not ready, and we asked our team to pray that each and every person that came in this room would be ready to receive the information, because if you're not ready, first you'll be condemned. Condemnation will come in. Secondly, you'll feel judged. Thirdly, you'll begin to question your own gifts, talents, and abilities. And fourth, you'll be ready to quit. So I pray that each of you that came in this room is ready to receive what we have to say, so you won't judge yourself wrong, and you won't condemn yourself and convict yourself and hang yourself and quit your business in your mind. So we're going to do some work here. We're going to talk about the real issues. First of all, our health. Secondly, our wealth. Third, the people that are collateral damage in our business endeavors, our families, our children that suffer, our spouses. Divorce rate is highest in entrepreneurship because we're trying to do everything at the same time, and it just isn't working. And we need to talk about that as well, because true wealth is having a healthy whole life and not money alone. So right now we're going to go right into our next segment. And I probably went around the world with this story because I wasn't prepared. Next time, Mr. Trevor, I'm going to get you, I'm going to be ready. But I thank God that I can stand on this stage and speak to whomever will listen. Yes. It's a choice. I don't force words on people. It is strictly a choice. Whomsoever will, let them come. Whoever has an ear to hear, let them receive. And if your ear is not open to hear what I have to say, then I move on, because it's a choice. So I pray that you be ready to hear what everyone has to say, so it'll benefit your business in a dramatic way. And I'm going to bring someone up before you that I absolutely love. Mr. Martin, can I take your assignment? And I don't have to do her bio, because I watched this lady. We went to business school together. We sat in Joseph Business School, and I was so amazed at a medical doctor, licensed internal medicine physician. See, I worked with doctors for a very long time, and I know how they can be. Went back to school to learn business. Most doctors that I talked to, matter of fact, my other doctor, I literally had to give him a business coach session after my exam. We went through business, and he said, man, I wish I'd known that before I started my practice. Nobody told us that, and I knew that they were not teaching doctors business. Right. They're teaching them medicine, but not how to run a business. So he likes to talk to me when I come see him because he wants to talk about business. But I was so impressed with Dr. Stanley. Us sitting across the table from, she's looking on that side of the table, her and her husband, Pastor Stanley, and I'm on the other side, and they're teaching us ratios and profit analysis. And we were going, oh Lord, and I saw her going, and I'm like, I was just so tickled at how we all reacted to the business concepts that were pouring. And Miss Kelly was in a business school with us as well. The things that were pouring into us at that time. And then how, from what Joseph Business School did for her, she stopped her traditional practice. Because she said, this is not working. I'm not seeing people changed. I'm tired of writing prescriptions and not seeing any results. That's not the type of medicine I want to practice. And she closed her practice. Thank you. And you know, that helped me close my business. She said, it's not working. And she had permission in a safe environment to say that and to do that. BlackCEO gave me permission in a safe environment to say my business isn't working. So I gotta stop this madness and figure out what it is I'm supposed to be doing and how I can take what I have and take it to the marketplace in a different way. And she did that. She's still practicing medicine, and she is one of the best physicians this world has ever known. Number one, she prays for every patient before she starts working with them. Number two, she's praying for the answer. Number three, she will research, and come back and tell you, this is what we need to do. She's not going in 30 minutes or 15 minutes nowadays with an office visit, write you a prescription. She's not going to do that. She's going to send you away, get some tests, find out what your levels and blood work is. Now when I get the information back, she's going to research what's the answer, because she wants you healed and whole, not just treated. There is a difference. And I am so grateful to have her as my physician. I am grateful for the information that I've gotten from her and the knowledge, but this woman is a businesswoman. She's not just a doctor. She's a pastor's wife and a co-pastor of the ministry in Topeka, Harvest Church, Topeka, Kansas. She is a licensed medical provider. She is an amazing businesswoman, and I call her my friend, Dr. Rita Stanley.
I love you. Let me get that, Donetta. I think I'm supposed to talk into this, and then this is for the,
Take your time.
all right, glory to God. All right, you may hear a glory to God from me too, so y'all better. I feel you, it just comes out, doesn't it? But, you know, I'm just so many adjectives. So grateful to be here, so humbled to be here, talking to business owners and entrepreneurs. Let me say that different. Talking to entrepreneurs. And what Donetta didn't say, well, she did allude to it. When I went to Joseph Business School, my practice was already in the basement. I had lots of patients. You know, 3,000 patients on the books, had lots of people, and I love my patients. But like you said, Donetta, you have to know, you know, what's your income gonna be? How are you gonna get paid? How are you gonna cover the overhead? And I'm telling you, the medical system in this country doesn't help you do that. So anyway, let me back up. I want to talk to you today. I'm Rita Stanley, like Donetta said, Rita Rogers Stanley, because I honor my father, Dr. Samuel Rogers. And if you're from the Kansas City area, you probably know his name. He is, I stand in his legacy. I stand in his legacy, and I tell people I didn't have a whole lot of choice about being a doctor, because I grew up in that household, and he never once said to me, I want you to be a doctor. I never heard that. But he just modeled things before me. And then we'd spend the summers in Anniston, Alabama with my grandparents, his parents, and my grandfather was a doctor. And my grandfather was a pharmacist. And so we'd go to his practice. He had a little pharmacy with the soda fountain. Oh, we thought he was the greatest thing. We didn't care much about him being a doctor, but we'd go and get that shaved ice and that syrup and stuff before it became high fructose corn syrup. And so we would have those, you know, just all these wonderful memories. So they modeled that. So I didn't think you could be anything else. I just figured everybody became a doctor. And so that was the journey that I started on. Well, I lived it. I was born into that legacy of providing community-based health care to people. It's just an assumption. But today I want to talk to you both as an entrepreneur, and also it's important to me that as our businesses grow, that we do business well. Business will literally kill you. It will kill you. Because as I listen, and Donette, of course I know you from a different perspective, but I can tell you, everybody in this room who is doing business or wants to do business, there are things going on in your body that you don't even know about until they reach such a level that you can feel them. And so we're going to talk about that. I'm going to talk to you about doing business well and paying as close attention to your health as you do to all those other things, insurance and the things that we have to focus on. But if you don't take care of yourself, it'll be for naught, okay? So we'll talk about some things. So doing business well. Let me see if I know how to. So again, I talked to you a little bit about my journey, but let me just add a few other things. So I haven't always been an entrepreneur. I started out, I've been practicing medicine now for 32 years. So the first 20 years, I was an employed physician. And that was okay. I learned a lot. I got my trade going. And then, I'd say about 15 years ago, I decided I want to do this on my own. So that's when I went into a private practice called Doctor's Clinic of KC. And I actually named it that because my father and several other black physicians in Kansas City, they were the first multi-specialty practice in the country. And they were called Doctor's Clinic. So I named mine Doctor's Clinic of KC, and it was wonderful. I loved it. I loved my clients. The practice grew quickly. It was a beautiful thing. I did what I was taught to do. I did a lot of tests, and I diagnosed, and I prescribed, and I said, this is great. And then I convinced myself that I was doing prevention because I sent you for your mammogram and your colonoscopy and your prostate exam. I said, I'm preventing disease. That's not prevention, folks. That's early cancer detection, all right? So don't convince yourself, because these insurance companies say, prevention, get your prostate exam. There's no prevention there. And then it was interesting. Around 4 years into that practice, I noticed a trend. People coming in saying, Dr. Stanley, I just don't feel good. Something's wrong. I don't feel good. They were bringing in FMLA papers. I filled out more FMLA forms. It was crazy because people were so stressed out. And they could, on Sunday night, their stomachs started hurting at the prospect of going to work on Monday. It was crazy. So they said, Dr. Stanley, something's wrong. And I said, okay. So I did what I knew what to do. X-rays, CAT scan, MRI, make sure you're not having a stroke. And it was all normal. So I'd come back to this person who was clearly not well, and I'd say, everything's normal. But I knew, instinctively, I knew there was something I was missing. And I said, God, look, I know I'm part of a healthcare legacy. I know all that. But I will stop this right now if I have to practice like this, because I'm not helping anybody. And everybody's not depressed. And everybody doesn't need, all these Prozac. Everybody did something. I'm missing something, God. What is it? And in his wonderful, gracious way, he began to just open up doors of opportunity for me to learn. And because I am an MD, I want to learn from an MD. That was my attitude. So he began to bring MDs my way who were already practicing something different and really making a difference in people's lives. So I want to talk to you. I'm not going to talk to you necessarily about any conditions, but I want to talk to you about what I do now. And I want you to know what I do, but I want you to hear it in the sense of, what does it mean for you? What can you do different so that you don't end up with high blood pressure? I'm not interested in diagnosing your high blood pressure and giving you blood pressure medicine. That's not my... What I want to do is to help you discover some things that are going on under the surface that are measurable, that I didn't learn about in medical school, but you can measure them so that you have 5, 7 years to do something different and never get the diagnosis. How many of you all prefer that route? Okay. So what I practice now and have for the last 12 years is something called functional medicine. Has anybody ever heard of that? Functional medicine. And it really is real. It's science. It's a science-based field of healthcare, and the focus is on prevention, preventing disease. And so the question we ask is, what's the root cause of your symptoms? So if you come to me with chest pain, yes, I want to help you with your chest pain. I did that for 20-something years. But I want to know what's causing your chest pain. What's the root cause of it? And so what we're able to do is to help you identify what we call core clinical imbalances. And I'll show you what those are. The other thing about functional medicine is we look at your body as interconnected systems. In traditional medicine, if you have chest pain, we send you to the heart doctor. If you have something going on with your kidneys, we send you to the kidney doctor. And everybody's looking at these different parts of you. Nobody's looking at the total part, your whole body. Certainly nobody, not very many people are concerned about your spirit. And very few, unless they're psychiatrists, are concerned about your soul. So in functional medicine, we're able to look at all of those aspects of you, okay, because you're interconnected. We're not pulling out different body parts, systems. We're looking at you as an interconnected systems. So in traditional medicine, most of us have primary care doctors. That's traditional medicine in this country. You're either healthy and then you're sick, right? I had a lady yesterday who came up to the table and she said to me, I haven't been to the doctor in 5 years. She said, I feel okay. She said, I haven't been to the doctor in 5 years. And I ended up saying to her, you really have to change your mindset. Because the worst thing anybody could do is wait till they feel bad to go to the doctor. Because generally by the time you feel bad, you're well down the road. So I said, change your mindset. I want to help you change your mindset. And I want you to purpose to go see somebody once a year, whatever and stay ahead of some things. So I say that to anybody who's listening. So traditional medicine, you're healthy, then you're sick, then you get put on medicine. With functional medicine, you're healthy, and then there's what we call this functional range, meaning there's this time in your life where there are some underlying core imbalances you don't know about, unfortunately, until you come see me and I check them. And then you're sick. Okay, so there's this time frame. There's this time frame where you've got these imbalances going on that you can do something about, but you don't know about them. Here's the other thing about functional medicine. I just mentioned core clinical imbalances. So this shows you that this is a tree, and you can see the roots to the tree. The core clinical imbalances are the roots to the tree. So we know when you plant something, it establishes roots before it starts manifesting and getting leaves and so on. There are about 6, maybe 7 core clinical imbalances that cause the multitude of hundreds of diagnoses that everybody gets. Diabetes, heart disease, arthritis, colitis, all those different diagnoses, but there's only about 6 root causes of those diseases. So these are core clinical imbalances. And this is what a functional medicine provider, practitioner, is going to look at for you. Hormone, and anybody that knows me knows I love balancing hormones, but that's only one part of the core clinical imbalances. Then there's inflammation, and I'm telling you, inflammation is the root cause of literally everything. Everything starts with inflammation. You can measure that. You don't have to wonder, am I inflamed? Well, you know you are if you've got joint pain or pain someplace, itis. If you've been given a diagnosis of itis, you've got inflammation. But inflammation is usually very silent, but it's measurable. GI, digestive problems, problems with your microbiome, with your bacteria in your gut. If that is allowed to be unidentified and run rampant, it's just a matter of time, and you're going to manifest some sort of disease. Your immune system, 85% of which is in your GI tract. Your detox system, that's a core clinical imbalance in some people. And then mitochondria are just those little powerful organelles that are inside of every cell in your body that are creating the energy that drives life. So you can have an imbalance there. So these are the imbalances that everybody, and I'm not speaking anything over you, but I can tell you everyone in this room has an imbalance in one of these. It just is the nature of the food we eat, the toxins that we're exposed to, us being business owners and working long hours and going to school. And so we don't want to be ignorant. We don't want to be in denial. I want our mindset to be, let me just figure out if I've got any of these. And then I have a chance to do something about it. So we think in terms of what can we add back? So once we measure those core clinical imbalances, is there something I can add back to your body? Because we know that God is an awesome God, and we have bodies that will heal itself. Your body will heal itself, given the right things. So I'm asking, what can I add back that you're missing? And what can I remove that I have picked up on any of these tests? What can I help you remove from your body so your body can do what it was created to do? And so these tend to be the 5 areas of intervention when I see somebody. So diet, say, let food be my medicine, and medicine be my food. Food will always be the first recommendation I make to anybody. And that doesn't cost you anything except the food and letting your body go through withdrawal from sugar. But diet is going to correct a lot of things, most things. And then the other area I'll help you intervene is getting stuff out. Getting you to move you're okay. We haven't eaten lunch. But you know, you have to pee it out. You got to poop it out. You got to do all those things to get the toxins out of your body. And you can't have a bowel movement every 2 days. Right. It's got to be every day, more than 1 time a day. I'll support your hormones. I'll help you with some methods to control your stress. And that's where God has me stuck right now, is helping people around. This stress thing, we always say stress kills you, but you have no idea what you're saying. Because it can be subtle, it can be off the chain. So my whole focus right now is around helping people identify signs of stress in their body. And then supporting your gut. So this is a sort of a broad stroke of how functional medicine practitioners help get you back on point so you can do business well. So this is my practice. This is my practice. I don't feel good, Dr. Stanley. I don't feel good. Something's wrong. I'm irritable. I'm tired. I'm fat. So fat, fatigued, frenzied, full of poop. That's my practice. And this is a little hard to see, but the point I want to drive with this picture here is when you're under stress from anything, I mean, it could be psychological, it could be because your food is bad, it could be environmental. If you follow the arrow, and what you'll end up with is changes in multiple systems in your body. So stress is not just this brain thing. Ultimately, it affects your hormone levels, it affects your gut health, it affects your immune system, it affects your cardiovascular system. So it's one thing for me to say, oh, you need your hormones balanced, let me balance your hormones. But if I do that, if I think like that, then I become what I was when I was practicing traditional medicine, which is honing in on one system when I know that more than likely you've got something going on. And this is just another graphic that shows you that stress just, it doesn't just stay up here. It doesn't just stay emotional. It becomes a very physical thing. And this is an interesting slide because you have symptoms. This is a table where you have symptoms on both sides of the table. And if you look at that closely, they're very much the same. My point with this slide is, it's important that you be aware of what's going on in your body and say, oh, I'm feeling this. I wonder if it's this. Very important that you're self-aware. But what I'm convincing people to do now is you cannot afford to just self-diagnose. Because without appropriate testing, you'll be guessing. So I tell people, stop guessing and get some testing. So we'll know whether you've got too much cortisol, that comes from the adrenal glands, not enough, it's your ovaries, what are we dealing with? So that you can uniquely, and let me make this statement. There's a a lot of information available. You would agree. You can turn on Dr. Oz, you can go on the internet. There's a lot of wellness information available. So what I find now is many people are very knowledgeable because they go out on the internet, and I believe that's a good thing to some extent. But what they're reading is very general information, most of which will help to some degree. But listen, God is a bad dude. And so when he made every last one of, even though we have same organs, the body processes are the same, there is a uniqueness in every one of us. So that general recommendations go a long way, but do you know that now we can go down to your genetics? Do you know that we can know with testing what foods, does that apple help you or is it hurting you based on your uniqueness? And so when you can get to do the general things, the general dietary recommendations, but there is so much more that can take you to the next level or allow a practice. So you need more defined testing done, and you need a guide. Because people come in my office all the time now, and they're on it. Man, they know that information, and they've got a bag that says, let me show you my supplements. And my whole desk is covered with supplements. And part of me is really happy because at least I know they're wellness minded, but then I recognize they need a guide. You need a guide who knows, and you're right, Donetta, I love to learn. And the information, God is exposing so much information right now that it's just, I am so tuned up. And I mean, people say, are you going to retire? Are you kidding me? There's too much information available to help people. And I'm convinced I want to save the world. That's what I want to do. I at least want the opportunity to give you the information that you need. Now then you got to make a choice. So no, I'll be, you have to tell me to sit down, Dr. Stan. It's time, and I really am. Brother Trevor, he talks about collaboration, and I recognize, because I'm a person of, how do I want to put it? I love solitude, I love silence. I don't have to be around a lot of people. And that has served me well to a certain extent, but I recognize as I get older, who's going to carry this on? Who do I need to pour into? So I've begun that process of collaborating with some young practitioners, Dr. Chilcote, who's a naturopathic doctor in town, and then Christina Williams, who does some hair loss things. And it's really been fun. But I recognize I've got to pour in and begin to help train some of these young health-related people so they don't just go down the same traditional medicine tract and are not open to things. So I'm excited about this. I have an e-course, an online course. I mean, I just finished it. I finished it for purposes of this conference. And it's about stress. Because again, everybody I see in my practice comes in really as that's their primary thing is stress and stress-related imbalances. And I want to offer that. And it's at extraordinary-health.teachable.com. It's a platform where you can create courses. And I encourage those of you all who are teachers, who want to teach, that you put your stuff out there and put a price on it. And we all know there are people making buku money with these online courses. So don't do it as a fad, but if you know you've got content and people are asking you the same stuff all the time. So this course I created is called Take Charge, Live a Stress-Less Life. You'll never be stress-free, but live a stress-less life. And if you put the code in, BlackCEO, it'll want you to give some payment information, but it'll ask you for a code, then you'll get just go on there and do it. So I opened up a certain number where you can tap into that and go ahead and get started. And it's a course that you do at your own pace. It's got modules. It's got a quiz on there that you can take. Figure out your own symptoms, because you know, we all know. So I want you to take advantage of that, and I really want to, I would love to, okay, I'm going to create more courses, and I would love to do that for BlackCEO, for the business owners, just to, so that we can, yeah. And then I have a book, it's out at the table, and I've got a website and all that stuff, so you can stop at the table and get all of my contact information. But do business well, okay? Say that with me. I'm going to do business well. Yes. And the journey continues. So 1 + 1 is? 2. Yeah, 1 and 1 is #11. Thank y'all so much.
All right. Next, we're going to move right along. Let's give her another hand, another round of applause. Dr. Rita Stanley, been knowing her for years.
Yeah.
All right, so next we have coming up to speak is Dr. Shelley Loman Hooks. She is a Maryland native, although she has resided in Kansas City since 2000. She is a graduate of Hampton University. Ooh.
HBCU.
With a degree in biology and a 1999 graduate of Life University. With her doctorate in chiropractic, Dr. Hooks is a licensed chiropractor now serving the Kansas City community. Dr. Hooks uses a whole person approach. This approach to wellness means looking for underlying causes of any disturbance or disruption, which may or may not be causing symptoms at the time, and make whatever interventions and lifestyle adjustments that would optimize the conditions for normal function. Using this unique approach, Dr. Hooks is able to help to accelerate and or maintain your journey to good health. Aside from the clinic, Dr. Hooks employs spending time with her husband, Steve, and their 3 children, whom are very active in Kansas City's soccer and basketball circuit, so she's a soccer mom, along with Jack and Jill of America. Dr. Hooks is also a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority and the American Black Chiropractic Associations. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Dr. Shelley Loman Hooks.
Your mic? This mic too? This mic? Okay.
This was recording, this was speaking.
Okay. Okay. Hello. Let me see if I can hook this on here. Guess I could just try to hold both. Hi, how are you guys? All right, I was not expecting to present today. I thought we were doing a panel discussion, so bear with me. My name is Dr. Shelley Loman Hooks, and I am a chiropractor downtown in the Crossroads, Kansas City. I've been a chiropractor since 1999, and I have been practicing in Kansas City from Gardner to Lily Summit, Independence, and now I've finally opened up my own practice about 6, 7 years ago, downtown in the Crossroads. So I used to practice with another chiropractor out in Gardner, and then I moved with a female chiropractor out in Independence, Lee Summit area. And I made the move to my own practice because, one, I knew it was time. I had moved on from what I was, doing for other people, and decided it was time that I needed to go out on my own. Not really thinking about all that it was going to entail, because it was kind of good to go. It was kind of easy to go to work every day, and just come home and handle my kids and my family. But I knew that I wanted more, and I knew I needed more for my family. So that's why me and my husband went out and decided that it was time for us to open up our own. When you become a doctor, we don't really, when you're applying to school, they don't really kind of put in your head that you're going to be your own business owner one day. It's more like we go to school because we want to help other people. Something has affected us in our lives enough where we feel like we need to share it or help other people in that way, but we get boiled down with insurance companies and owning our own business. So I understand exactly what she was talking about the stress of being a business owner, because it is real. And luckily I have also with me my husband, who is able to do a lot for me because he's self-employed. He's been self-employed. He's never had a job. He's never worked for anybody, I should say. He's always owned his own company, mortgage company, real estate. So he's a people person, where I'm the introvert. So he was able to get out and do all my marketing for me, because you need that. It's when you're opening up a business, it's a lot easier. It's a lot more helpful when you have someone that is able to, who's in it with you, you know? When you have something in it together and you're able to work for a common cause, which was our family, and making sure that we were able to provide, because neither one of us were gonna have these big 401ks or, you know. So it was a joint effort for us. So I opened up my own business in 2011. I opened up in a little corner downtown Kansas City, just waiting for my big office to finish. And I opened the doors and started seeing patients immediately. There's never been a time where I didn't make enough to cover my overhead, which is crazy for, you know, for new businesses. I was able to pay everything every month without coming out of my family's pocket, and we never had a dime from any kind of loan or anything. So we were able to put things slowly together without having to go for the SBA loan, which wasn't going to give it to me anyway, because, you know, let's face it, I wasn't going to get the loan. So we were able to put it together and grow, and slowly, and I've got employees now, and I just am just a big advocate of working for yourself, you know? There's no greater sense of accomplishment than, you know, saying that we can go in every basketball tournament. My son travels, he plays for Under Armour, so he travels every weekend. And every weekend we're able to fly to New York, LA, Atlanta, wherever they are. And my daughter, she plays soccer, and she also travels. So we've been out of town for the past 9 weeks, since April. And we couldn't do that if we were, you know, not self-employed. So we're able to do that extra that a lot of people aren't able to do, because they have to go to, you know, do 40, 50, 60 hours a day. So that brings into what the clientele I see. I mean, the people, chiropractic is an alternative health, okay? It's for most people, majority of people don't even know what I do. All my doctors, who are now all my patients, came to me because they were like, we really don't know what you guys do. So they came to my grand opening, and then they saw my office space, which was non-medical looking, I guess. You know, I've got a downtown space with, you know, brick wall and, you know, high ceilings, and just not your typical medical office. But that's something that chiropractors do because we want everyone to know that we are alternative to what you see in your normal, typical primary care. We see patients that mostly come in because they have back pain. And chiropractic that is the majority of who comes in my door, especially through insurance, but that's just a small smidgen of what chiropractic really is. Chiropractic has been around for hundreds of years. And what we do is we make sure that the brain is connected through the rest of the body. The brain is connected, in simple terms, the brain is connected through the spinal cord, which has spinal nerves that goes out to every organ of the body. And we make sure that there is no interference from here to everywhere else. So a lot of times back pain is a manifestation, or neck pain and headaches is a manifestation of something else that's going on because your spine is not in alignment. You've got something pressing on a nerve, and that is why things aren't working properly in your digestive tract. So that is why we have women that come to us because they are unable to conceive children, because they have pressure on their nerves that are leading to their reproductive system. So there's a wide array of what chiropractic does, and like you were saying, we believe the main philosophy of chiropractic is that we believe that the body is able to heal itself. We just take out the interference, and then we let the body do what it needs to do. So that is the whole premise of what chiropractic is. And it's so awesome to hear her talk about functional medicine, because we think that a lot of people, we refer out and we feel like a lot of people need to go that route as far as functional medicine versus their regular primary internal medicine, who they come to us because they bring in a list of medications. Like literally we have to print it off. They're on this, and they don't have, our community is not being educated on how to get off the medication, and they're not having the resources, because you can't just tell someone to eat right and then have a 5-minute doctor's appointment, tell them to eat, and then see them in 6 months to refill their prescription. It has to be a lifestyle, and that's the name of my clinic, is Lifestyle Chiropractic. I moved from Independence because I was not seeing anybody like me come through the doors. And not in Gardner, not in Independence, not in Lee Summit. There was no one that was like me, and I told my husband, I was like, I want to step out, but I don't know, this is not what I want to do. You're like, what I'm doing every day, this is not what I had envisioned for me as far as being a chiropractor. So we said, we're gonna move. We looked around for area and we said we were gonna move somewhere, try to be downtown so we could be on the bus line. So maybe that could help people make sure that they get to us. And it did, but what it ended up doing was mostly now I'm getting a lot of personal injury. So people in car accidents. So I didn't think of the whole scenario, but so now my practice is probably 50-50. I've got 50% people that come in from car accidents, which are the majority of us. And then I've got the other 50 who come in off of insurance, who know all about chiropractic. I mean, they already know. Like, it's not, they know what it is. They want to get treated. They want to be on a plan. They want the whole shebang. But for the other side of it is more like education. We've got to educate. So as a doctor, we have to make sure that we are educating our people instead of just sending them on the way. So my greatest thing is being able to turn someone who is just coming to me because they were in a car accident to changing their life as far as lifestyle, making sure that they're seeing a chiropractor regularly, making sure that they know that there are things they can do to be more stress-free. But it all starts with being out of pain. if anyone has ever been in pain, it is so hard to accomplish everything else you need to accomplish in life if you're in pain. So I always start out in the pain phase. And once they start coming to me and they're saying, okay, I'm feeling a lot better, then we kind of move on and transition them to the next phase, which is stability. We want to stabilize people. We want them to stay out of pain. And then we try to go on to the maintenance, which is where we start educating. Because we can't do it all, people just get bombarded. If I'm talking about nutrition and changing lives and you're in pain, you're not really digesting what I'm talking about. Right. So my goal is always to try to make sure people make it all the way through the phases of care, but they always seem to kind of do a lot. Once they're pain-free, they don't want to pay the money anymore, so they don't want to get to this phase, and they want to, but life bombards us. We got the stress, and we've got bills, and we know what we need to do. So it is a constant work in progress, And all we can do is educate people, let them know what they need to do, let them know what it is, what's out there, what the possibilities are, and then just, pray that they come around to us. So as far as business, it just makes it a little bit more complicated when you're trying to get on one stream. Like in this world, I have to be multifaceted. So I work with a lot of different doctors and lawyers to make sure that everyone is where they need to be. I need to make sure that they don't know that they need a certain lawyer to get a certain thing done, especially when you're talking about the FMLA papers and workman's comp. So everything is education. And so what I advise for everyone is to make sure that they don't treat their doctor as if they're just this person who is unreachable, okay? I want you to, if you can't walk to your doctor and tell them everything about yourself, then you're probably not in the right place, right? That probably is not the doctor for you. If you feel like that doctor is not going to understand, or you feel like they're not hearing you, then that's time to move on. And we need to stop being worried about insurance. Insurance pays your doctor very minimal, but if you walked into your doctor's office, your copay is probably not a lot less than what an actual office visit costs. So it probably is maybe if your copay is $30, you probably her visit is probably only $60, $75 for a cash patient. So find that out before you're willing to not use a doctor because your insurance doesn't cover that doctor. Because you have to know that you are greater than the insurance. They're gonna bog you down to one possible avenue of who to see, where to see, when you can see them. And that doesn't work for everybody, and it shouldn't work for you. So I advise you to be an advocate for your own health care. You have to ask questions. If they're not willing to answer questions for you, then you need to move on, all right? So that's my biggest thing as far as information to feed people as far as healthcare. There are plenty of great doctors out there. There's ones that'll listen, and you need to find those doctors and stop being caught up in insurance and things that are not going to help you in the long run, right? I think that's it. They told me my time was up, but we'll be on the panel, so we'll be able to ask questions. Oh, sure.
One quick question.
Mm-hmm.
The business side.
Mm-hmm.
When you decided to go out on your own and you were ready to hire your first person,
Mm-hmm.
What kind of prep went into that, and what kind of consultant did you have to help you with that first step?
Okay, we don't want to get into hiring people. That's like that's a whole nother. But I was blessed for my first employee. Okay, so my first employee I ever hired, me and another doctor, we had an intern from a local medical group. They sent us over 5 people, and each of them interned with us, and we were able to pick from there. And we found an awesome girl who was my first one, who stayed with me for about 3 years. So, yeah, so that was how I hired my first one, and that was from. Luckily, I didn't have to go through the stress of the interview, the hiring, the firing. I didn't have to go through that. I knew she was Yes, blessing, because it has been a nightmare since. I know people say that it's hard to find a job, but there are not a lot of, it's hard to find a good employable person. And I could go on a story about how I was telling her about how hard it is. I have a practice right now, my front, everyone that works for me is African American. But every time I try to hire someone, people will tell me that I shouldn't hire another African American, that I need some diversity, but I just feel like it's not right because I don't think there's anybody out there telling other doctors who they need to hire, who needs to represent them. And I know who I work well with, you know, and I know who I'm like-minded with. So I don't feel like it's a problem, but it is, you know, something that is out there that's being told constantly to offices. You need to, you know, have a different look up in your front desk. So it is something that does get said. All right.
Dr. Shelley, if you could come join us here. We're going to open up for our health conversation. And so give you an opportunity, we're making sure we're getting a little feedback from the mics. And give us 1 minute to do our technical things and keep them both open. Okay, and so what we want to do is talk about the real issues in business. Both of them both experience what most entrepreneurs experience. You know, we have skills and training and ability in a certain area, but then we need to know how to do business. And in your professions, neither of you were given business training. And so, but yet you were expected to run a business.
Right.
And so talk about that whole experience. Dr. Stanley, you want to go first?
Yeah, it was, for me, it was really crazy. You're exactly right. We are not trained on how to do business. When I made a decision to open a private practice, I really had no idea what I was doing. I'm just gonna say it. And that was, you know, now 18 years ago. So I did my due diligence. Don't get me wrong, I didn't just open the door and say I'm open. So I did my due diligence. But I'll tell you the mistake that I made and what made it so difficult. You really have to take, and you mentioned it, Shelley, the fact that your husband works with you. He's a business owner. He of course knew a lot of things. Mm-hmm. He had an income, so you all had sort of two incomes that were able to support the household. My situation was a bit different in the sense that my husband won't mind. He's in full-time ministry, and so his salary certainly was not enough to make up for me starting a practice and knowing that in the first year there were going to be some challenges. So I didn't factor in what was going to happen to our personal household when I first started that practice. And so it was a disadvantage in the sense that I'm trying to pay the overhead of the practice and still support the household for the most part. So I mean, I learned majorly from that. And I didn't know, I mean, I hadn't been to any classes. Nobody said you gotta, you know, look at the whole financial picture. And even though I had patience when I first opened, the insurance system, and you mentioned this, the insurance system, and you all need to really understand that in a doctor's office, when you go in to see the doctor and you're asked for a copayment, that copayment is the only money we're going to see. So I would leave that office after having seen 10, 12 internal medicine, difficult, challenging patients, giving my best to them. I would leave with cash of maybe $200, maybe, if everybody could pay their copayment. And people resent that. People resent paying the copayment. But you need to know that's the only money the doctor gets the day of service. And then we have to submit a claim. We submit our fee to the insurance company, and there is absolutely zero expectation that the insurance company is going to pay us our in the healthcare, if I submit a claim, it's for $95, I better get the co-payment, $20. Okay, so that means $20, 95 minus 20. So the insurance company, I'm asking you to pay $75. No, ma'am. They set what percentage, what pay they're going to give you. So, and it could be 30% of the 75. It could be 40%. So just understanding that, I want you all to understand how important it is, to be able to go ahead and pay that copayment, because that's the only money that a traditional doctor's office is going to get that day. Then we wait 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe to get a percentage of the balance. And if your claim is not clean, so I say that to say, the practice I have now is completely fee for service. Because I respect both what I bring to you, and I respect the fact that for you, it really is an investment in your own wellness. And if I spend 90 minutes with clients, the first visit, an hour and a half, and then subsequent visits, I'm spending, I don't rush it. Now my day is maybe 5 to 7 clients, so I can spend time with you. And so the expectation is that you pay at the time of service. And it does bring challenges in the sense that this country, we have an insurance mindset.
Right.
So it breaks my heart that the very people that I want to
help
impact,
right,
many times cannot get beyond the insurance mindset.
right.
And I respect the fact that we all have budgets, but I also know we know how to allocate our dollars. And so I try to educate people. This is an investment. Your life will never be the same after you do what I recommend for you to do.
Right.
So you have to value that, because if you don't value it, you'll hear me and then say, okay, well, I hear what you said, and I'm not going to allow your insurance company to dictate and undermine the value of the information that you're going to get. It's going to change your life. So back to your question. It was an underestimation of how much my salary was supporting our household. So when my full income, when my full income was not available to support the household, it got to be a challenge.
Yes.
Did you say that you're cash only? Is that what you said?
Yes. Which most doctors are going in that direction at this point.
Yeah.
Which is what.
Anybody who does wellness,
Right.
yeah, does not take insurance. from
Exactly.
Question.
If you could stand, if you have a question, so we can get the mic to you. Okay, so hold on, he's coming. Well, it's being recorded, so this is actually live right now. So allow us to capture it so the audience can hear what you have to say.
Hey, Dr. Lee, how you doing? You took care of my mother for years, and I remember getting that letter.
Yes.
It's like everything that you just explained, but are you practicing in Kansas City, also in Topeka, but you do have office here?
I do still have an office here my biggest wellness practice is still in Kansas City, so I'm here on Thursdays. As long as I need to see whoever wants to be seen.
Gotcha, because mom's doctor just retired, so I'll let her know that, and I'll be there too.
And the other thing I want to say, though, to clarify, I don't do primary care. I try to do both. It doesn't work.
Okay, any other questions?
I have a question. And it's for the card. I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
Shelley.
Shelley?
Shelley.
Thank you, Shelley. You had mentioned that when you got out of school, you went straight into practicing. And so my question to you, and you said you were new here to Kansas City?
Yes, I'm from Maryland.
Okay, and so my question to you was, and you also mentioned, I'm sorry, that you know, your business took off right away. My question to you was, how did you market yourself when you got started, that your clientele was booming?
Well, I would like to take part of the glory, but no, it was my husband. He is a people person. He knew a lot of people, and when people found out that I was coming, because he's from Kansas, and we lived in Missouri, so, everything was too far for all his side of people come all the way to Missouri. 'Cause I guess you know, it sounds funny to me because I'm not from here, but Kansas people don't like to come all the way to Missouri. Missouri people don't want to go to Kansas. So when I moved more social, when I more central, he just started marking everyone, you know, like my wife has opened a chiropractor. He put it on Facebook. He put it on a lot of the social media markets. And people just started trickling, and we also knew a few lawyers who did personal injury. So that is how I started. And insurance. I was on the insurance list. So people did start calling in right away because at the time there was only one other chiropractor downtown. And then a good friend, I don't know if you know Dr. Richardson, he's a chiropractor. He was a black chiropractor, he was retiring, and then he started forwarding me all his people. He was retiring at the time, yeah. So it was a lot of things. It was just the right time, the right storm was coming through, so.
I want to open up, okay, one more question and then I'm going to do a dialogue.
I'm Mary Ricketts, and Dr. Lee, I got to hear you at Evangelistic Center Women's Conference years ago, and Diana's married a couple of events for a couple of my nieces. I am a chiropractic family. We love going.
Awesome.
African American hippies is what I call them.
Yeah.
But here's my question, especially as just gorgeous black business women. Who are you collaborating with? As a business owner, I just broke off from a firm I have been with for the last 3 years. I'm trying to say that without the tears coming. I'm excited. I'd love to hear about Joseph Business School, but one of the challenges I found is finding other strong, faith-believing women who are business-minded. I love collaborating. Tell me who you're collaborating with. How did you find that, the other person to rub elbows with, and how's that working for you?
Can we start? I collaborate with, I have a wide array of friends, and a lot of my friends are business owners or very high up in corporation individuals. And so it's always good to put yourself around people that are doing things that you want to do or doing what you strive to do. And I think that me and my husband always do that. As a couple, we are around a lot of other couples that are owning businesses, real estate. We're in a big real estate developing kind of market because that's what he does. So once you get around that, the real estate and people trying to invest is a huge market. And then once you kind of get into where people that are really, funding things, it just opens up a good array of people who are like-minded people, business owners who strive to do things. So I think that's what we do. And we do it as a couple.
So your question is about collaboration with other business people. I can't say that I have a large group of people that I collaborate at the business level. Again, as I mentioned, my efforts in collaboration now are with like-minded, I say, practitioners or people who are trying to do the same sort of wellness, and right now it's with a couple of younger women, because I just feel the obligation to impart some things to them. And I'm learning from them as well. And one is a woman, Christina Williams. Posh Restorations. And she's a young woman, but she'll be the first to tell you she's made some roots along the way, but she's got a strong business perspective, and she's a woman of faith, and so we have collaborated and are learning from each other, learning from each other's mistakes. But to be honest with you, I pick people's brains, but in terms of just making sure, which is I'd say a weakness on my side, making sure that I have somebody that holds me accountable. That's missing. Probably dynamic's probably the closest to that. And it's really more around my temperament or my, yeah. So I constantly grapple with the fact that I'm in my head a lot, but I do understand the importance of community and collaborating. So that's something that I'm really working on.
I think that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and what I love to do is that there's a chiropractic school here, and I don't know if it's an underground list, but somehow all the people that come through there always end up calling me to kind of come, and so I always let young people shadow. I have a lot of African American girls that come through the school, and they all call, and the guys as well. And then I also end up hiring one of the guys from the school as well. So
One of the things I wanted to share with you all is both of these ladies are my doctors. I made a conscious decision that I wanted a Black doctor. And as Black business owners, we know the challenges we face trying to make sure our doors are staying open and we're attracting customers and we are profitable in our endeavors. And I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is. And so I love my chiropractor. I have scoliosis, and so I have lower back issues. And Dr. Hooks has had my humor because I'm screaming on her table like a 2-year-old, and she's just working me over, and I'm just about to roll over and cry because it's hurting. And I really needed you last night. I don't know what I did, but my leg would not move. But I made a conscious decision that I want to make sure that my dollars are impacting Black businesses, even to the point of my health. Now, Dr. Stanley's been my doctor for quite some time because she began to teach, and it resonated with me what she was teaching, that this is me. I've got all these issues, and I had a whole list of medications I was being prescribed, and I was that one person in a million that has this side effect to this medicine. That was me. And then they would give me another medicine to take care of the side effects, and I'd have a side effect with that medicine. And she said, let's just take you off everything, and let's just start all over again. And I was down to just 2 pills and a vitamin D. Okay? So it's important because we get over-medicated. We get prescriptions. We do not get preventative care anywhere we go. I was on the wrong doses of medications, eating my gut up. I've had stomach issues my whole life, but it was side effects of the medication. And Dr. Stanley said, let's find out what the problem, the root of the problem. And because she is like me, she wasn't gonna write me a prescription and send me out the door. She wanted to get to the root of my problem so I could be healthy and finish what God called me to do. Now I'm going to Dr. Shelley. There are techniques. I manage private practices. I manage chiropractic offices. So I understand the chiropractic world, and I manage private medical practice, so I understand the doctor's world. I understand their challenges. But she has technologies and uses equipment. You know, you see on television, the most fearful thing that we as African Americans have about chiropractic is cracking your neck. That's our joke. Okay. She didn't touch my neck with her hands. She has a tool that she does vibration. She doesn't crack my neck. She does something, she doesn't adjust my back. She has a moving table. And the table moves as she puts pressure on my back, and it does an adjustment of itself. So she's not popping my back. She's not throwing me around on the table. That's another thing we talk about in the Black community. That's why we don't go to chiropractors. But when you have medical conditions inside your body that's causing a lot of other issues, I didn't get diagnosed that I had scoliosis till I was in my 30s. But I was in pain all my life. Now I have a daughter who has severe scoliosis. So I had to educate myself on this area. But the main thing I want to say is, don't allow preconceived notions about what chiropractic medicine is. Because when I leave her office, I can walk. And if I go too long, I can't walk. And I'm dragging a leg because one of my legs is longer than the other. And I'm dragging it, which causes other problems in my body. But I can go and get help from someone who cares about me. They're not just 15 minutes with me and sending me out the door. She'll ask me questions and I'll have her laughing because I'm just, hey, it hurts, I'm real, this is going on, I did this. I can talk to my doctor and my doctor talks back to me. That's what you're gonna get when you support your own and you go to your own for health care. And so I wanted them to be here today because if we're not healthy, we're not gonna have a healthy business. The two do not walk together. If you're physically in pain, it will manifest in your business. If you are emotionally distressed, you will have a distressful business. The two go together. Who you are as a person is what your business is. If you're sick, if you're tired, if you're stressed, you create that environment in your business because the business is you. You birthed it. It is a representation of your gift in the marketplace. It is you. So we have to take care of our health because we cannot produce wealth when we're unhealthy. And you won't keep wealth when you're unhealthy because you'll give it to the emergency room, you'll give it to the hospital, you'll give it to the surgeon, the anesthesiologist, the x-ray technician. They will have your wealth when you're unhealthy.
And you can't work.
And you cannot function to your optimum level. Creativity must exist in a balanced environment. And if you can't move your business forward and you can't see your way out and become creative to come up with a new strategy and you're unhealthy, creativity cannot exist in an unbalanced environment. So please, being healthy is critical to creating wealth. It is one of the #1 indicators of why we are not wealthy. We're not healthy. So this is why we brought our doctors before you today. And I hope that you take some time and get to know them. If you do not have a medical doctor, please do yourself, invest in yourself and give Dr. Stanley a call. And if you're in pain and you need help getting healthy, addressing the pain from the musculoskeletal position first, and then the pathological position secondly, both of these ladies are your answer today. So thank you all so very much for this part of listening to this important part of our session. Being healthy is part of being wealthy.
All right, thank you, ladies. Come on, let's just give them another round of applause. Are you enjoying yourselves? Are you getting inspired? Are you getting new questions to ask? All right. Our next speaker is Baird Matthews. Baird Matthews, formerly of CBS and the founder of E2E Systems, has dedicated his career to being productive and teamwork. After working as an assistant director, researcher, and production assistant for CBS and its affiliates, Baird moved away from the network and dove headfirst into entrepreneurship.
No, but they said this has to go
Where
for
he
that.
later founded E2E Systems,
Okay.
which stands for Employee to Entrepreneur. Baird has helped countless people to achieve their dreams and work within their purpose and their passion, while offering the best-selling book,
Is it on?
Why
Yeah, I
Didn't
didn't turn it off.
You
It's
Get
still
It Done, and 50
So
Shades of Grey, Health,
So they're hearing this stuff.
50 Shades of Wealth. Baird has also co-written Congratulations, You Just Lost Your Job. His writing has inspired entrepreneurs to take action and to move towards excellence. Baird has shared the stage with names such as Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, Dr. George C. Frazier, Linda Clemens, Myra Golden, Brady Higdon, and Tom Big Al Schrader, to name a few, as he has taught, motivated, and hosted events internationally. When entrepreneurs are serious about getting things done, they come to Barrett Matthews. Help me welcome Barrett Matthews.
All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. How's everybody doing? All right, my black CEOs. Man, my bio was longer than the time I got up here. So, let me ask you guys, I got a room mostly full of ladies here. Have you ladies ever had guys look at you and you felt like a piece of meat before? That's how I feel right now, because I'm the guy right before y'all go to lunch. So I want to do something. I want to change the way people think. That's one of the things that I like to do, is to get you to change the way you think about things, because we've been taught certain things and we have to get out of that. So I want to play a little game with you here. First of all, how many of you have heard me speak before? Okay, Danetta been lying to me. She told me everybody was waiting for me now. Anyway. Okay, first thing is, how do you get an elephant into a refrigerator? No, you just open the door and put them in. Come on. Okay, how do you get a giraffe into a refrigerator? No, you open the door, take the elephant out first, then you put the giraffe in. You got an elephant in there, you can't put a giraffe in there too. Okay. Now, the Lion King, this is another thing here. The Lion King decided to have a big ball, a big party. He invited every animal in the jungle, the plains, everybody to come. Which animal didn't come? The one he ate. That's funny. The giraffe, you just put him in the refrigerator. Come on now. Keep up. Okay. Now, you actually have to get across a river. And this is a river usually filled with giant man-eating crocodiles and so forth. But you don't have a boat. How would you get across that river? Ooh, they're thinking.
Up under the water, swim under the water.
Swim under the water? You know, crocodiles can go under the water too. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Why can't you walk around the bank?
Well, you could, I guess. But he actually is right. You actually can swim, because the crocodiles are at the party the lion came through. I told you every animal in the jungle was there. So anyway. That's why I just wanted to play that little game with you guys, to get you to think outside the box a little bit. Now, as you said, my name is Barrett Matthews. I'm a productivity and profits consultant. Now, I'm going to try to keep this as fast as possible, because we're running short on time and I know y'all want to eat. How many of y'all want to eat? Yeah, I thought so. Okay, so I want to make sure that I get you guys to lunch. But I want to say this, like I said, I have, as he mentioned before, I've worked in television. My background goes back a little bit. First of all, what's my Hamptonian? I just want to give homage to my Hamptonian. They say you can always tell a Hamptonian, but you can't tell them much. So I want to say I went to college because my parents told me, like many of yours did, go to school, get your good education, so you can grow up and get the good what? Job. That good job. I still don't know what that looks like. But I did what they told me to do. I went to school, got my education. I was a media major at Hampton, and okay. Thank you, but I got out of school and I got a job working for a local television station in D.C., Channel 9, WUSA, #1 news station in D.C., and I had a good title. How many of you had a good title before? Yeah, I had a good title. My title was assistant director. Sounded important, didn't it? Mm-hmm. They were paying me $13,000 a year. Don't laugh at my pain. Rough crowd here. Then the next year they gave me a raise to $15,000. Now I'm rolling out. So then I got offered a position to move up to New York with CBS Sports. Now I'm working for the network. Now this was actually my goal in college. I said I was going to be working for the network. I didn't expect it to be my second year out of college. Now, how many of you have ever lived in New York? Okay, so you all understand when I talk about what I was making. They were paying me $22,000 a year. Y'all still laughing, see, I don't understand that. But they were paying me $22,000 a year. And then, you see, I'm getting to something here because many of you understand this corporate game or the way they play it. I saw the isms of corporate America. By the isms, I mean sexism, racism, nepotism, all in one place. And I realized, I don't like this. Well, guess what? They didn't like me either. They decided not to renew my contract. Now I'm unemployed. And I was 24 years old. And I went out looking for work, and I heard a phrase that I never thought I'd hear. Have you ever heard this one? You're overqualified. Yeah. Now I'm 24. What am I overqualified for? Being 23? I could not understand it, but I realized later that was their code for saying, we don't really want to pay you. Now, at that moment, it clicked in me that I don't want to let anyone else control my situation. So I decided that I wanted to get into business, and I dealt with a lot of different things. I dealt with network marketing companies. I started my own business. I just realized I just didn't want anyone else controlling what I made and how I could go to work and all that. I just didn't want anyone controlling that. So I went in business. Now, guess what? I coach other people on how to do things such as get into television. I have a client, she's been on Good Morning America and the Today Show that I coach. Then I met up with that gentleman going out the door right there, Mr. Trevor Ott. Trevor saw the way I work with some people, and Trevor said to me, you need to be a coach. He said, you need to be some type of productivity or action coach. He said, people will pay for that. He said, I pay for that. And I said, okay, I guess I need to do that. So I started doing that. But he said, you need to write a book. I said, I've never written a book before. I've always been good at writing, but I had never written a book. So I said, Trevor, what do I need to do to get started? Well, he said, first, just write down, just outline your chapters. Tell me how many chapters you want, and just the titles up, and just a little bit about what you want to put in them. So the next day, I saw Trevor at an event, and I told him, I got that list together. We went to lunch together. I said, I got that list together that you told me of all my chapters, and he just started laughing at me. I'm like, why are you laughing at me? And he said, because I just want to bet. Why are you betting on me? I'm like, well, how come I wasn't included in this thing? And he said, I just bet someone that you would have that done the next day, because that's just how you operate. And that's how I operate. So then I showed him something that I don't think he was ready for. You see, this right here is one of my books. It's my best-selling book, Why Didn't You Get It Done? A Guide to Helping You Get Off Your Assets. I wrote this book in 6 days. And on the 7th day, I rested. But this is, this book, I mean, I have to say, it's done pretty well for me. People love this book. This right here is my second book, 50 Shades of Wealth, The Allure of Success. What I did is I talked to some of the sharpest minds in business. Some of them some of them are here. Trevor's in the book. Dr. Reuben West is in the book as well. Dr. George C. Fraser was nice enough to do the foreword for this book. But a lot of great minds are in this book, and if you want to get the books, I'll talk to you later about how you can do that. But I have to say, my books, they're pretty good books, if I do say so myself. But what I want to talk to you about is learning how to do better in productivity. If you want to do better in productivity, say I do. I do. Who wants to make more money? Say me. Me. Good. So I want to show you how to do both. Now, my book, as I said, is pretty good. But I like to learn things from the good book, the Bible. So what I did is I strategically placed some individuals here, and we're going to talk about a couple of things that are in the Bible. So the first person I gave a scripture to, would you please stand up? It says number 1 on it. It should say number 1 on your sheet of paper. There you go. So Renzo, what does your scripture say?
I think I might be able to. Okay. Proverbs 14:23. In all toil there is profit, but mere talk tends only to poverty.
In all toil there is profit, but mere talk tends only to poverty. Proverbs 14:23. What does that say to you?
It says talk is cheap.
Say that again, please. Talk is cheap. You got to put some action behind things. And here's the thing about action. When you put yourself in action, you have to do action when? Now. Say it with me. Now. One more time. Now. You have to take action now. Too many times we talk. How many of y'all know somebody all they do is talk, 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 don't do it? Yes, we all know. Lord have mercy. But we all know those people. I met a guy at a conference. This is the truth. Trevor had introduced me. He talked about how fast I wrote the book. And this guy comes up and he says to me, and Ruben, please don't crack up laughing. He comes up to me and he says, hey man, I think we need to do some work together. I said, okay, what's up? He said, I'm working on a book right now. I've been working on this book about excuses for about the last 4 years. I've been working on this book. I said, 4 years? Like, look at Ruthie, Ruben is lost. Every time I tell this, he loses it. I said, 4 years? I said, why is it taking you 4 years? And of course, he proceeded to give me excuses. So, but the thing is, talk is cheap. Now, many of you probably have heard the story of the father who had 2 sons and he wanted them to work the vineyard. He told his sons, went to the first son, he said, I want you to go out and work the vineyard today. And the son says, no, I don't want to do that, Father. So he didn't want to do it. Went to the second son, he says, I want you to work the vineyard. The son goes, yes, Father, I'm more than happy to go work the vineyard. I'll go do it. Well, guess what? He didn't do it. He didn't do it. This first son later had a change of heart and he decided to go work the vineyard as his father requested. Now, which one is the father pleased with? The first one. Which one is God pleased with? The first one, because he was honest about how he felt. Don't just talk and not do anything. If you say you're going to do it, do it. He didn't do it. The first one didn't do it because he didn't feel like it. He changed his mind later and did it. Now, I got a story I had to tell you here. There was a game warden. And he would watch people go in and out and go fishing and come back with their fish and so forth. But there was this one particular guy. He would go fishing and he would come back with a cooler full of fish. And he said, I know he is over the limit of how many fish he can have. But I don't know what he's doing. I'm going to find out what this guy's doing. So one day, the fisherman comes down. He says to the game warden, hey, you want to go fishing with me? The game warden's like, whoa, yeah. I'm going to find him. I'm going to find out what he's doing. I'm going to catch him. So he gets on the boat. They go out into the middle of the lake. The guy pulls out a stick of dynamite, lights it, throws it in the water. Boom! All these fish come up. Got a fish full of a cooler full of fish. The game warden says, you can't do that. That's illegal. How are you going to do that? That's too many fish. You can't do that. Can't light a stick of dynamite. The fisherman lights up another stick of dynamite, hands it to the game warden, and says, we're going to talk or we're going to fish. Same thing applies to you. You're going to talk, you're going to fish. Which one is it going to be? You have a choice because, see, the thing is, nothing's going to come to you if you don't fish, meaning you have to work. You have to put some work in. Now, as Trevor always says, we as a people have become addicted to our labor. Work does not necessarily mean you have to labor all the time. You can have a team in place. Work is still being done. But the work still has to get done. Now, I want to ask you all a question. Which came first? God telling Adam to work or the fall of Eden? Work. So work was not a curse, as many of us thought. Work was a blessing. Yet, so many of us run from our blessing. Nobody wants to work. Everybody runs, but then we complain that we don't get the rewards. Well, if you don't want to do the work, you don't get the rewards. It's simple logic. Stop running from the blessing. You got to put in the work if you want to get something done. Now, who is the person that has number 2? Let me get you over here, get this mic with you. Excuse me.
So John 13:17. Now that you know these things,
You will be blessed if you do them.
Now you know you got to work. The blessings are going to come to you if you do the work. You can't shy away from it now. The work has to be done, and you have to do it. You either have to, and when I say you have to do it, get your team in place, put your systems in place, put your processes in place, but get it done. Stop procrastinating. How many of you want to stop procrastinating? Say, I do. Good, I got the right crowd in here. I want to make sure that that's in place because you want to stop procrastinating. You got to change the way you do things. You have to. Who has number 3? Leah, come on over here.
Ephesians 2:10, for we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do.
Thank you very much, Leah. Leah is a staple on the BlackCEO morning show. She helps us out so much. And she traveled all the way from Philadelphia just to be here. I love her for that. Now, we're God's handiwork. God put us here to do something specifically. The reason a lot of us procrastinate, the reason a lot of us don't get things done is because we think we're our own handiwork. Isn't that funny? we think we got this. No. Things aren't getting done because you're not doing what God wants you to do. You see your work as drudgery. You see it as hard. You see it as laborious. You see it as something that's difficult that you don't want to do. And the reason that is because it's not what you're supposed to be doing. We were all put here to do something. All put here to do something very, very special. That means that my job is not his job. Her job is not her job. We were all put here to do something special. Now, once you know what that thing is, you need to take action. And take action when? Now. When? Now. When? Now. Good. Who has number 4? Ruben.
1 Peter 4:10, as each has received a gift, use it to serve one another as good stewards to God's very grace.
As each has received a gift, use it to serve one another as good stewards to God's very grace. Each of us has received a gift. Each one of us. There's not a person in this room that has not received a gift from God. But it says varied grace. So that means we don't have the same thing. I just had a conversation with someone just yesterday, and they were talking about how other people in their circle seem to be succeeding and getting all these rewards, and they're not getting what they think they should get. Well, I told them, you're getting what you should get. They're getting what they should get. Stop competing. Stop competing. We do this as a people all the time. Somebody got this, I want that. We got to stop that. We got to stop that. You were given something. Take what you were given and make it work. We've all heard the parable of the talents, right? You know, the master, he went away. As he went away, he gave his servants talents. He gave one 5. He gave another 2. He gave another 1. He told them to go out and use those talents and come back with something. Well, when he came back, he asked them what they had. The one who had 5 says, I have gotten double. I got 5 more talents. He said, you have done great. You're rewarded. He said to the one with 2, what have you done? He said, I have gone out and I've gotten 2 more talents. He did great. You're rewarded. He went to the one with 1 talent and said, what have you done? He said, pretty much, Master, I didn't think you were going to do nothing with it, so I just put it away real safe. I buried it. Played it safe. I played it safe. That's what I did. Have you ever played it safe before? If you're honest with yourself, I mean, if you've ever played it safe before. Well, the thing is, he played it safe, the master was not pleased. As a matter of fact, he said, give it to me. I'm going to give it to the one who got 5 and let him do something with it. Now, first of all, a talent of gold. Do you understand that in today's dollars, that's worth $1.25 million? You say, oh my. Yes, that's worth $1.25 million. Imagine if you decided to play it safe when you had $1.25 million. But guess what? God has gifted you. We just talked about that, right? How much do you think God's gifts are worth to you? Can you afford to play it safe with God's gifts? Understand that you have to take action on what God has given you. And when do you have to take action? Now. When? Now. When? Now. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I want to get somebody to help me out real quick. Here's what I want to do. I want to play a little game here. Can I get a volunteer up here? Come on up. I want to get a volunteer. We're going to do something real quick. Now, what do I have in my hand here?
You have a penny.
I have a penny. Now, what I want you to do is put that penny as close to your eye as possible and look at that penny to see everything you can see in that penny. Yeah, that's right. You usually have to close one eye to look at it as close as you can. Now, as you hold it up there, hold it as close as you can. I'm going to hold this out here. Now, can you see this as clear as possible with that penny in your way?
No.
No, you can't. Okay, you take it down. Now, what I have here is, what is it? What is it? I know it's not real, but.
It's a $1 million bill.
It's a $1 million bill. Now, I'm sorry, what's your name?
Jason.
Jason. So, Jason, would you say that if you have pennies in your eyesight, it's harder to see the millions in front of you?
I'd say yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. You can keep the penny, please. That seems to be the problem with many of us. We have what we call penny vision. Penny vision. We see the pennies in front of us talking about the millions. And didn't we say at the beginning that talk is cheap? Talk is cheap. Talk will get you pennies. If we want the millions, we have to start taking massive action. If you want massive results, you have to have massive action. You are not going to get massive results chasing pennies. Too many of us do this all the time, but we have to start taking action. We can't keep talking about it. We are the talkingest people. I'm just being honest. We are the talkingest people. Like I said, I wrote that book in 6 days. I ain't gonna ask y'all to say this now, but how many of y'all have said you're gonna write a book and haven't done it? Don't raise your hand. Don't raise your hand, because I already know. It's probably more than half the room has said that. They still laughing. See, Ruben, I didn't make this up. I didn't stage these people. Some of them covering up their faces. They just, like I said, I didn't make this up. But I know it to be fact. Because guess what? This ain't the first crowd I talked to about this. We got to stop procrastinating. We got to take action on things. Now, here's the thing I want to do this. I want to play a little game with y'all. I have in my hand a $10 bill. I'll give this $10 bill to the first person to come up and give me a $5 bill. Got to take massive action. Take action now. You got to take action now. The first person to give me a $5 bill. Uh-oh, Ruben, she beat you. She beat you. All right. All right. Now, I'll give this $5 bill to the first person to give me a 1. Oh, she beat you to it. She beat you to it. She beat you to it. I'll give this $1 bill to the first person to give me a penny. Yeah, he got one, right?
How about I give you a nickel?
Okay, there she goes. There you go. Now, here's the thing. The reward goes to the people that take action when? 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 But did you notice the reward gets smaller the slower you react? The slower you react, the reward gets smaller. Have you ever had an idea that you thought would be great to start a business with, but you didn't act on it? And then you notice someone else did it? I know I'm stepping on some more toes. That's what I do. If y'all haven't noticed already, that's what I do. But you have to learn to act on things and act on them swiftly. Now, I mentioned at the top that I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to get my books. My books, let me tell you, the first book, Why Didn't You Get It Done? I've had someone tell me that that book should be valued at $5,000 because it helped them get a $5,000 deal once they read the book. I appreciated that. But the book retails for $20. Now, the other book, 50 Shades of Wealth, also retails for $20. What you can do is this. You can get both of them. I will ship them to you for only $30, free shipping. You just have to text the word done, as in get it done. Text the word done to this number, 929-244-4323. Text the word done to 929-244-4323. Follow the prompts and it will get you to these books and it will get shipped to you. Now, here's the thing. How many of you, once again, are ready to stop procrastination? Say me. Me. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I put together a challenge. It's a 21-day procrastination challenge. What that entails is you're going to get a video every single day for 20 days. As they say, you can change a habit if you start in 20 days, 21 days. You're going to get a video every day on a new initiative you have to take that will help you change some habits, which will help you to be more productive. I am also going to send you, just so you don't have to read all the time, my audio book of Why Didn't You Get It Done? Now, first of all, the challenge is valued at about $397. The audio book is valued at about the same, since someone told me I can get it for $5,000. I just said it's valued at about $397. Also, you're going to get a free productivity strategy session with me about your business. Now, I'm going to speak here. Daniel, you've done that already before. You've done that. He did that months ago. Was it valuable? Okay, thank you very much. I'm glad I didn't pay him to say that. Now, also, you're going to get a free ticket to any of, not all of them, but one of my live events. Now, I do an event called Passion to Profits. It's been very, very good. I've had a lot of great people. That Trevor's been a part of it. Shay's been a part of it. Ruben has not been a part of it yet. We're getting there. But also, I'm doing an event right now, coming up, that's going to be called Make Money from the Stage. Now, I don't know if any of you are speakers out here, but if you want to learn how to make money from the stage, we're going to show you how to do that. So, that is valued at $500 as well. Now, I want to see how many of you take massive action. I didn't tell you what I'm going to give this to you for, but it's not going to be what I just told you there. If you want to learn how to be more productive and stop procrastination, just come get one of these forms real quick. Oh, they taking action. I love it. I love it. I love it. Now, the total value is $1,700.
The woman was standing right here.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I hope I got enough. Hope I got enough. You're welcome. One behind me? Thank you, thank you. Hope I got enough. That's two there. Okay, so I do have enough. Thank goodness.
Are all your books on audio?
No. Whew, barely made it. Okay, now, one more, okay. All right, I'm gonna give this to you, but hold on one sec. Okay, now, as you can see on the sheet, it's valued at $1,700. What I want you to do right now is fill out that sheet. Just fill it out. Fill it out completely. Don't leave anything blank. Fill it out completely. Because that's going to tell me who's ready to take massive action. Because guess what? They're telling me I got to get off the stage. I'm going to be in the back of the room. But I need you to come to me with your sheet completely filled out because it's not going to be $1,700. It's not even going to be $1,000. It's not even going to be $700. You get all of this for only $197. So fill this out, meet me in the back of the room, and we're going to get things started because we want to take action when? Now. When? Now. When? Now. I'm Barrett Matthews. Thank you guys for your time.
All right, come on. Put your hands together. Let's give you a round of applause. This time, I want you to get ready to deal with the sun. All right, this is sunshine. Thank you for being very, very attentive to all the speakers that came up. We want to spend about
you pay taxes from a W-2 or a paycheck, now you're double paying. Right? So I'm starting with the tax portion because what often happens is you guys don't go and seek a professional until something happens. I'm trying to get you to be proactive to say, I need to sit down with someone and talk about what it is I want to do and how I want to do it so that when I do it, I know I'm on the path to build wealth. Dividend is still earned. However, I just gave you almost a 15 to 20% tax cut by saying, keep taking a $100,000 salary, but take 50 of it as wages and take the other 50 as a dividend. Because all the IRS says is you have to take reasonable salary. Well, what's reasonable for you in your industry may be different from me and mine. That makes sense? So I'm just dropping some nuggets, I'm planting some seeds to get the wheels turning because you cannot build wealth on a shaky foundation. Okay? You cannot build wealth on a shaky foundation. So let me ask this question by a show of hands. How many of you know that on December 17th, 2017, we just had a major US tax reform? You know now, right? Because you were talking to me last night. Every room in this, every person hand in this room should have went up. This tax reform is so bad that for people like me in the industry, it's like relearning everything that I've been doing over the last 20 years. This is the largest US tax reform in US tax history. So you can no longer go and say, I think I heard that there was a tax reform. No, you know it was December 17th, because I spent my Christmas break reading an 1,100-page